Well, that was a full-on Angels meltdown this weekend, and it puts an exclamation point on a really, really bad year.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We've got takeaways from each game over the weekend. We're going to start with Thursday, but we got to be honest with you. It's not great. It was not a great weekend. We're going to share why, and we're going to discuss how this team has just given up, and they're not even fun to watch. And the strikeouts prove it. Before we talk about the Angels, we want to thank our sponsor, FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You can download the FanDuel app today.
Happy Monday to you, and thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is Jon, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother Jon.
Hey, we're lifelong fans of the Angels, talking Angels baseball with you Monday through Friday, every single weekday. On today's show, we're here to give you everything that happened over the weekend, all of our takeaways. All right, Mariners fans, let me have it. I talk a lot of trash, and, I'm sorry that, our starting catcher, Logan Davidson, let us down, and, our fill-in shortstop, who just came up for the minors, let us down. I'm sorry for all that. You didn't get the full Angel experience, and you got the sweep, so that's fine. Actually, I met a Mariners fan who I feel like I could be friends with, because he's not like the online portion of the fan base. He was like, "You're an Angels fan? Oh, I'm sorry." And he goes, "But I can't talk. We've only been to the playoffs once in 24 years," or something like that. I was like, "Hey, that's a good guy who understands ball." I appreciate that guy. But Mike, let's get into everything that happened this weekend, all the takeaways, everything our everydayers need to know. And we'll start with Thursday as the Angels lose 7-6 in 12 innings.
Yeah, let me rewind the tape, take you back to the end of the game. The Angels scored the automatic runner in the 11th and the 12th inning, but they couldn't do anything more than that. The Mariners were able to get their inherited runners in, but they did add an extra run in the 12th to win the game, which came on a sacrifice fly with the bases loaded, which brings us to our takeaways. Our first takeaway is, Jon, the Angels used 8 pitchers in this game. Soriano started. He only went 4 innings, was not good. I'm glad that they waited and had him pitch against the Mariners.
Was it worth it?
Right. Silseth got into this game, and he pitched an inning. So did Garcia, Burke, Fermin, Jansen, and Stevenson. Now, they were all good, and they kept the Mariners from scoring, but the problem was the Halos couldn't score at all either, and they were running out of bullpen arms, so they had to rely on Sammy Peralta to hold the game for them, and he didn't. He went an inning and a third, gave up 3 runs. He walked 3. He allowed the game-tying run twice, and the game-winning run in the 12th inning. So running out of pitchers, not having them go back-to-back innings, and I get that it's probably better to not have them go back-to-back innings, and I get it's probably better to have them start a clean inning, but as this game was building, you could just tell that the offense was not coming through on both ends, and they had to rely on Sammy Peralta, who was the guy that got DFA'd, and they picked him up, right? That's the guy you want at the end of the game. So I know that they got kind of pushed into a corner, but it felt like bad management. It felt like bad offense. It was not great. This was the start of a not great weekend for the Halos.
Yeah, and the sad part, and this goes into our second takeaway, the Angels crawled back into this game, Mike. They scored runs with productive outs. They were down 4-0 early, and then they started to come back on the way to the end of the game, top of the 4th. Yohan Moncada singled. Taylor Ward followed that with a double. They had runners on second and third, and Chris Taylor hit a sacrifice fly to drive in a run. So 1 run at a time, trying to chip and claw their way back. Ward moved to third on the sac fly. Rengifo grounded it out to short. Taylor Ward scored. So productive outs led to 2 runs, which then goes into our third takeaway, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Angels' first and fourth run were 2 solo home runs. The first was Logan Davidson's home run. He, playing first base, hits his first major league home run. Congratulations to him. Then top 5, it looked like it was going to be a great weekend for Mike Trout. He hits his 21st home run of the season, 399 of his career. He had a homerless drought, Johnny, of 126 plate appearances. First home run since August 6th. Now, another note on Trout. He hit 500 plate appearances in this game for the season. First time since 2019 that he has had 500 plate appearances.
I think he's going to need another 500 to, feel like Trout again. like we were talking about. Yeah, I need 100 plate appearances to get right and get started. Feels like you're going to need another 500, bro, to get right and get started. Yeah, exactly. So honestly, I think it's the knee. I think the knee's bothering him, and it hasn't stopped bothering him. Mike, he's just late on everything, right? Like he's either swinging through something or it's fouling straight back, which indicates to you that his timing is super late. He's swinging on a fastball and he's just not getting to it in time. I don't know how or in what world or why this hasn't been a discussion. If it hasn't been a discussion, start earlier. Start that wind up earlier. Start that swing earlier. Like that's obviously been the issue for most of the season, is him being late on this stuff. And I don't know how they can, not shorten his swing, but shorten the length of his swing, shorten the load and the mechanics of his batting stance and all of that stuff. It just, nothing has changed with Trout, and he's been just late on everything all season long. Our fourth takeaway, Bryce Teodosio wowed us with his defense. Bottom of the fourth, there were 2 on and 1 out. Teodosio catches this sinking line drive in center field, and he had to dive to his left and stole a hit from Julio Rodriguez to save at least 1 run for Jose Soriano. Just an incredible diving catch from Bryce Teodosio. He also had a running catch in the bottom of the 5th off the bat of Leo Rivas, and Teodosio made it look like a routine catch, but it was a deep fly to left center, and Teodosio ran it down. So there's something to be said about having a guy like that in the outfield. And I feel like most good teams will carry a guy like that who is not going to hit for a ton of average, not going to hit for a ton of power, though, he had those 2 games back to back with a triple in each game. And I think that him at the 9 spot, which puts him in front of Trout, so to speak, I think he's really benefited from that. And I'm sick of them pinch hitting for Teodosio.
I was going to say, why are they pinch hitting for him? I mean, he's not playing for anything, right? And so don't pitch hit, because you bring in Matthew Lugo, who's got a long swing and he's a strikeout, right? And so why not just have Bryce Teodosio be somebody that's up there with a short swing and learn how to arrive in that moment,
right.
Learn how to rise up in that moment, right? Like, I mean, the guy is probably never going to be like a 700 OPS player, but he could be somebody that in those moments could be better, a 650 to 680 OPS player, good defense, right? He's going to be somebody you can rely on, 4th outfielder perhaps for next year. But I just, it boggles my mind, because the Angels just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing in trying to compete or not compete. And then when it comes late, like, we want these young guys to develop. Oh, by the way, let's pinch hit for somebody who could learn in this moment about how to actually come through. But let's have Logan Davidson not get pinch hit for and be in this, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Nothing about this team makes sense anymore.
Yeah, they pinch hit Bryce Teodosio for Taylor Ward Jr., who strikes out, Matthew Lugo, and maybe they want to give Matthew Lugo the big moment to try and do something there. No, you've run with Teodosio, you've run with him for most of the season, and he's been a great center fielder. Let the guy figure things out at the major league level. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The Angels hurt themselves in the end. That's our 5th takeaway. They had a chance to score a run in the 10th. Logan Davidson bunted the ghost runner over to 3rd. Matthew Lugo, as we mentioned, and Mike Trout both strike out. Then in the top of the 12th, the Angels had runners on 1st and 3rd after a Logan Davidson bunt single. The guy's doing everything there. Matthew Lugo hit a single to score Rivero from 3rd, but with runners on 1st and 2nd, who else but Mike Trout grounds into a double play. So, I mean, look, this version of the team is like the C team. And I know we've got injuries and we're going to cover that in our next segment, but man, it's just like not even the guys you want to come through in those moments. And then when the opportunity presents itself for somebody like Teodosio, it's, let's get Matthew Lugo up there, right? It's so frustrating to me, Mike.
Yeah. And then having Trout come up, you just know that he's not going to come through in that big moment. Plus, he hurts himself even worse by hitting into a double play.
Right.
Like, he makes contact, doesn't strike out, which is great, but then his contact is he hits into a double play. And so you end the inning, and that the Angels just hurt themselves because they were going to score another run. They had an opportunity with 1st and 3rd, nobody out. The bunt single by Davidson was just trying to bunt the guy over. Yeah. And he ends up beating it out. Right. And so that's what a great opportunity. Lugo gets a hit, but then you ground to short. Maybe Trout as the leadoff hitter maybe you bunt the runners over again, right? Like maybe you try to bunt the runner in. There's just no creativity at all with this team. And that's what's so frustrating, especially with Friday, because it was a good game. It was a good game on Friday. They played their hearts out. Yeah. They played
Thursday.
Thursday. It was on Thursday, right? So
yeah,
I mean, they played their hearts out, and it looked like, okay, well, that was a great game, and it sets us up for a competitive weekend series. Little did we know that it wouldn't be that, but I just feel like there's no creativity. It's like, no, it's Mike Trout. Let's just rest on his laurels and let's have him go up there. I think you got to. Zach Neto bunted as the third hitter a couple of games ago, so why not have Mike Trout bunt over? Why not have Mike Trout push it down to first base? Like, there's, again, no creativity with this offense whatsoever. No thought outside of, I'm just going to swing away, Merrill. I'm just going to swing away.
You know, what's frustrating too was the night before, the Mariners went 13 innings with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And you're coming in, and they won that game, but you're coming into this game, they're exhausted. And then you take them to extra innings again. Well, it didn't really make a difference the rest of the weekend too, to wear out the pitching staff and wear out the bullpen, mostly because you let the pitching staff, the starting staff, walk all over you, right? And I've always said the Mariners have a great rotation, but they haven't been as good as they've been in the past. They've really kind of been uneven this year, and a lot of that's due to injury and whatnot. But credit to them for having the rotation that they have. Well, they certainly found it again, and that's going to be what we talk about as we continue our conversation. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Coming up, had a lot of roster moves, a lot of injuries, a lot of guys just going home for the rest of the season. And you know what? I think we're okay with that. We'll get into all of that coming right up.
How about this NFL season? So far, so good for the 49er fans out there, like us, and that's exciting. FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for every moment this NFL season. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel, and because it fits however I like to bet, player props, building a same-game parlay, maybe even jumping in live as the action unfolds. FanDuel is quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sunday. So we know you're ready to play. Download the FanDuel app right now. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Let me tell you that I had the thought to take the over on pitching strikeouts for the Mariners before every game this weekend, and I just didn't get around to it. And it would have been really great for me in Prize Picks if I had, because it's the daily fantasy app where making the right call actually pays off. And I would have made the right call because the Mariners struck out the Angels 462 times over the weekend. And I could have easily taken more on pitching strikeouts for each of the guys who started the game for the Mariners. Again, all you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. With football being back, you have the opportunity to pick more or less. Josh Allen for more than 270 passing yards, Saquon Barkley for less than 1.5 rushing touchdowns. It's all there on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right, unless you're Jon Frisch, who didn't take advantage of Prize Picks this weekend. But make sure you do the same for yourself.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. And you can check us out wherever you get your podcast. And whether you're watching or listening, get in on the conversation by finding today's show on YouTube and getting into the comment section. And while you're there, hit that like and subscribe button. And we would love for you to give a rate and a review of the show, just like Suited Fingers gave us a rate and review last Monday. Said, Mike and John, you're doing a great job covering this disappointing team. And we're sorry they're a disappointment, but we're glad that we are not a disappointment to you. Again, find us on social media. You can DM us at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Would love your thoughts on today's discussion.
All right, Mike. Friday, the Angels lost 2-1. And so in the complete opposite direction of what they did on Thursday, a close pitching game for the Angels and the Mariners. The first takeaway was Kikuchi pitched really well in this one. 6 innings, just 4 hits, only 1 run. He walked 1 and struck out 3. It was 98 total pitches, in this game. He was focused, didn't lose that focus after getting 2 outs, because how many times have we watched him get to 2 outs and then not be able to seal the deal or close the door on the inning by getting that last out? He went up 2 strikes. He was able to finish off batters, and then he left the game down just 1 run, and the Halos eventually tied it. So Kikuchi got off the hook and ended up with a no decision, but they didn't win this game. And a lot of that had to do with what happened before the game, right, Mike?
Yeah, second takeaway is the Angels made 6 moves before this game. Chad Wallach was brought up. Connor Brogdon was brought up. Travis d'Arnaud went on the 7-day IL for concussion. Andrew Chafin, 15-day IL. He has a tricep inflammation. Reed Detmers transferred to the 60-day IL, so he's done for the year. And then Nico Cavadas got DFA'd. That put the Angels at 14 players on the IL currently. Travis d'Arnaud, Logan O'Hoppe, Nolan Shonowell, Tyler Anderson, Andrew Chafin, Reed Detmers, Ryan Zefferjon, Gustavo Campero, Carson Fulmer, Victor Medeiros, Ben Joyce, Anthony Rendon, remember him, Jorge Soler, and Hunter Strickland. Plus, Neto and Adele were out of this game, which meant for a very different lineup, didn't it, John?
Yeah, and it's like I mentioned earlier in the first segment, our third takeaway is the Angels ran out the C squad in this game. Chris Taylor.
Squad.
Yeah, no
it was
kidding.
Worse than that.
Chris Taylor was playing right field. He hit second, which when Chris Taylor's hitting second, you're in a world of hurt. Oswald Peraza had to play short. He hit sixth. Logan Davidson played first and hit seventh. Sebastian Rivero, who, by the way, has been excellent as a catcher this so far in his short time with the Angels. He was catching and batting eighth, and this led to, unfortunately, a weak offensive performance. Just 1 run on 4 hits in this game, and the only run came in the 7th inning on a Logan Davidson double that scored Rengifo. But this is insane to me. They struggled to make any hard contact whatsoever. The hardest hit ball here, 86.4 exit velocity, right? Then you've got all the way down to 46.5 miles per hour off the bat. You've got a single for 90 miles an hour, but it just goes to show you nothing 98 or above, 96 or above there for a while. It was just absolutely insane how the Angels just couldn't make any hard contact in this game. But again, goes back to the fact that they don't have everybody that they would normally have. But I'm noticing a trend here, Michael, and I know I kind of joked about it when we opened the show. Logan Davidson, the only one doing anything in these first 2 games when Trout striking out, Taylor Ward, and it's like, guys, where are you? Hello? Yeah. And so it's, I joke that this is the C squad, but the C squad is the only one doing anything so far. And that leads us into Saturday's game, Mike, where the Angels lost 5-3.
Yeah, a point about Logan Davidson, he's getting hits. Is it because he hasn't been around Johnny Washington?
Oh, 100%. Right? No, I'm not kidding. Sebastian Rivero, Logan Davidson, even Bryce Teodosio to some extent, Mike. I mean, these guys who are coming in to do stuff haven't been around this club all season. I mean, Oswald Peraza, I know we'll talk about what he was able to do on Sunday, but there were a couple moments where he popped a home run here and there, opposite field, right? Going the other way with it, almost falling into it accidentally. And so, it's being not getting the stink of this team on you because you haven't been up with a major league club. I can't imagine what it's like to go from the minor leagues and playing with, AA, AAA, what have you, then getting the call up to the major leagues and going, what's going on up here? Like, what are we doing? And so I imagine there is such a huge gap between the kind of style of play, the kind of way these guys play in the minor leagues versus what they're doing at the major league level. And I just can't even imagine the shock of going from, the Salt Lake Bees to the Angels and just seeing what they're doing at the major league level. I'm sure it's a world of difference between the two clubs. Yeah.
You mentioned Saturday's game. They lost 5-3. First takeaway is they brought up Denzer Guzman and they recalled Christian Moore and they designated Scott Kingery for assignment, our best bullpen piece. And then they optioned Matthew Lugo to AAA Salt Lake. Now, Guzman is 21 years old, top international prospect for the Halos. He signed in 2020. And this season, between AA and AAA, he's slashing 247, a 343 on base, and a 426 slugging with 17 home runs and a 119 weighted runs created. Plus, he's the Angels' 9th best prospect in the system. John, I love this tweet from Talking Halos superstar Jared Timms. He said this about Denzer. He's been playing third a lot in AAA because he can. He could have a 70 arm, but right now it's a 60 grade defender, and that's at short. He said, I'm not going to go the Simmons comp, Andrelton Simmons comp, because Simba is just an elite defender. But he said that Denzer reminds me of Simba. Denzer isn't fast, but gets to everything and has an elite arm. In fact, had a great play in this game where he went back on a ball and then immediately threw it over to first. And then, John, Jeff Fletcher tweeted about a conversation he had with a scout. Why don't you share that?
Yeah. Well, before I share that, I had a laugh because you mentioned Denzer's great play, but that was the only play that was hit to him in this entire game, right? And that says something about, the Mariners not just grounding out the shortstop constantly over and over and over again. But Jeff Fletcher did speak with the scout. Here's what he had to say. He said, he's coming. I've always thought that he could defend. He's got a major league caliber glove. I don't think he's going to start at shortstop at the end of the day because of Neto, but he's going to be a hell of a third baseman. All one word, hell of a. I think that's where he should end up. I think there's easy power on the pull side, and he's getting to that power. I don't think he's going to be a plus hitter by any means, but he's coming. He's proven he should be in the big leagues at some point. I think he's going to be their third baseman. In his debut, he went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in this game. Christian Moore came up, went 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Had a chance to help the Halos late, but unfortunately grounded into a double play.
Second takeaway from Saturday's game, Adele and Ward both homered. Adele's 36th, Ward's 31st. Those numbers are going to look great after the season's over, John. We're going to look at those numbers and go, wow, they had a really good year. Wow, they were just probably so good. But when we look at the record right now and we look at the season right now, we're like, what happened? They didn't help at all, right? A lot of solo home runs. We'll talk about more solo home runs in the next segment, but those are great numbers. Congratulations to them. But it almost feels like Trout and Ohtani, right? And putting up great numbers. Now it's just Ward and Adele and nothing really around them of great support.
Yeah. Well, and when you consider, you think about Zach Neto, I know Nolan's been out for, nearly a month now. You think about, they've got these guys who can put up great numbers. Mike, what do we always come back to? It's starting pitching, right? And look, there have been many, many times this season where the Angels lost a game and it was like, oh, I can't believe Kyle Hendricks did this or Tyler Anderson did that. And I look at what they've done and I go, they went 6 innings, three earned runs. Like, it should be on the Angels, the offense, to do something there. And that has happened more often than not. As we've gotten into the second half, though, you've got Kikuchi, who's been very back and forth. Obviously, Anderson never really found what he had last season. Kyle Hendricks, you never know what you're going to get. And that was the thing. It was when the season started, you knew you would get 5 innings, 2 earned runs from Kyle Hendricks, 3 earned runs. Like, you knew that it wasn't going to be this spectacular outing, but you could at least count on like minimal, success and keeping you in the game. Well, all of that's gone away. And unfortunately, it's caught up with Mitch Ferris in this game. Came back down to earth a little bit. That's our third takeaway in his third start. Went just 4 innings, gave up 5 runs on 5 hits. Now, some of those were inherited by inherited runners that were given up. But it was the walks, Mike, that hurt him the most. He walked 4 batters, something he didn't do in his previous 2 starts. He only walked 3 across those first 2 starts combined. So this was a come back down to earth moment for Mitch Ferris. Also, he's taken on a playoff bound team. And so I think that that's important to take into consideration because, he's been great. And he's somebody that, we talked about the jumping the gun on the starting rotation conversation for Mitch Ferris. And to me, he's the first guy I'm calling up if there's a spot in the rotation, if somebody is hurt, if somebody's sick, whatever, what have you, right? He's the first guy he's my number 6, so to speak, right? Obviously, they won't go with a 6-man rotation, but he would be the 6th guy I would turn to call up and replace somebody.
Last takeaway, John, from Saturday, Angels struck out 16 times, and that wasn't the worst for the weekend. Hint, hint, in the next segment. Everybody struck out at least once. Even pinch hitter Chris Taylor struck out in this game. Trout, Moncada, Ward, Adele, Davidson, and Guzman all struck out twice. It was ugly, ugly, ugly. You thought maybe they could salvage it on Sunday, but that didn't happen either.
No, it certainly did not happen, and it got even worse, and we'll talk about what they did on Sunday in just a minute.
There's a lot of hair care products out there. It's maybe promising to regrow your hair, products that it's hard to know if they're actually going to work for you or not. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root cause of thinning and shedding, and it has a proactive approach. It's easy to add to your everyday schedule. Just take 4 pills with a meal, no prescription needed, and you can start feeling good about Nutrafol and how it's going to help you. Plus, it's NSF certified, and it's backed by peer review studies. You're going to see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On Angel listeners $10 off your first month subscription, and you'll get free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
All right, you got 3 games over the weekend where, the score is not too lopsided, right? They lost in extra innings, 2-1 on Saturday, 5-3. It's not that great on Saturday. And then you get Sunday's game where the Angels lose 11-2. And the first takeaway here is that it was strikeout after strikeout after strikeout after strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. Should I keep going? I think you get the idea.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Twins, Mike, hold the record for most team strikeouts in Major League Baseball in a season. In 2023, they had 1,654 strikeouts. The Angels entered Sunday, September 14th, with 2 weeks of play to go, with 1,478. Entered Sunday.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? They struck out 18 more times on Sunday. George Kirby, what was he, perfect through 4 innings against the Angels in this one?
I think, was it 7 innings? I think it was longer than that.
It got broken up, but yeah, it felt like it, right?
It felt like 7 innings, yeah.
And look, here I go back to what I said earlier. George Kirby historically has been a great pitcher. And of course, a normal team would get 10 strikeouts against George Kirby and be like, it's George Kirby. 18 across the whole game, right? But he was in double digits in this one, and he struggled this year. He came back from injury, struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're 158 strikeouts away from holding that record. I've got a thought on most strikeouts in the league, which is where the Angels currently stand.
Yeah.
But I'll share that after we get through our next takeaway. Take us to our second one, Mike.
Well, it's uglier than the strikeouts, John. Kyle Hendricks wasn't good. Again, you don't know what you're going to get with this guy sometimes. In 3 1/3 innings pitched, 10 hits, 9 runs. Really ugly start. It got so bad that the Angels threw another position player, Logan Davidson, this time. What a waste. What a dumb. I get it. We're going to save the bullpen. What are you saving the bullpen?
You got a day off today, right?
It's stupid. Which brings us to the third takeaway. The Angels, solo home runs, right? Like they hit 2 solo home runs. Peraza hit 1, Christian Moore hit 1, but scoring multiple runs and doing it with singles and doubles and possibly triples is just not in the strategy for the Halos. No productive outs in this game. Just really, really bad in how they performed all weekend long. And this game was the cherry on top. And you mentioned strikeouts, John. Tell me your thought about the strikeouts.
Mike, the last time the Angels led the league in strikeouts was 2022, and they had Jeremy Reed as their hitting coach. Now, you and I were discussing before the show, when did he get there? And I feel like he came along with Brett Ausmus.
Yeah, right.
If not sooner. And then I joked, man, it's a shame that Brett Ausmus, has gone on to have, the championship managerial career that he's had. And Joe Madden got snapped up right away after he was let go from the Angels, and Phil Nevin's doing great, managing his team. Oh, wait, none of those guys have managerial jobs. I know Ausmus is bench coach, I believe, for the Yankees.
I think he's cleaning toilets. Yeah.
With a toothbrush. Yeah, exactly. But Mike, the last time they led the league in strikeouts, 2022, Jeremy Reed, they made a change. And that's when Marcus Timms came in to be their hitting coach. Now, I know that was because they let Phil Nevin, who was managing in 2023, pick his coaching staff, and he brought Timms over from the Yankees because they worked together previously. And so he gave him the opportunity. So the timing makes sense in terms of, hey, we got to get a new guy in here. But the fact you can't tell me that you're going to lead the league in strikeouts, possibly set the new record for most team strikeouts in a single season. You can't tell me that Johnny Washington is going to have a job after this season. I don't care that they have all the home runs. They're fifth in the league in home runs. But you know what? The other teams that are up there in home runs, they don't have as many strikeouts as the Angels, right? They're not leading the league in strikeout percentage and total number of strikeouts. It's insane to me what has happened with this team. And because last year, they didn't lead the league in strikeouts. They actually brought the number down from 2023 to 2024. It was a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
When they are coming into 2025, they went lower in terms of team strikeouts. It was like refreshing. It was like, okay, we're not leading the league anymore in striking out so much. But got to tell you, this approach that has been ingrained into this team to swing away or end the at-bat when you got to end the at-bat, you know what it's caused them to do? And we saw a ton of this. It's not the swinging strikeouts. It's the strikeouts looking. And it's absolutely insane. Mike Trout on Sunday, 2 strikeouts looking.
Yeah.
And I know one of them was kind of crap because Kirby threw a ball outside that was called a ball. Same exact spot, called a strike.
Yeah.
Fine. But at the end of the day, you can't just sit there and look at stuff. How many times have we talked about Taylor Ward just sitting there and looking at stuff?
Yeah, with runners on. Yep.
With runners on, looking at stuff that goes right down the middle. And it's absolutely insane to me that all stems from this approach that Johnny Washington has been preaching of. You got to end the at-bat when you should end the at-bat. AKA, you got to find your pitch and do something with it. You know what? You can't always find your pitch, especially when your pitch is right down the middle and you let it pass you by. You're just guessing. You're just hoping and praying for something that you could do damage with. Hey, how about taking something the other way, right? Those 2 pitches to Trout on the outside where he ended up striking out looking on that. Hey, Mike, why don't you poke that down the right field line, right? Get a double while you're at it. Easily do that.
Yeah.
But these guys have been sitting and waiting and asking the pitcher to pitch to them. That's not how it works.
I like it right about here.
Yeah. I want a medium rare steak, right?
Yes.
Like, the pitcher's not going to do it for you.
Yeah, right.
And that's what they're counting on this season. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm not surprised that this is the result of that. But if Johnny Washington has his job next year, then I quit. I don't know what to say. Like, good grief, man. Like, there's no reason why any of this coaching staff should be back in 2026. And you and I like Barry Enright.
Yep.
Right. And we have seen the steps forward the staff has taken in some directions. Seen some steps backward too, Mike. Sure. And so when you put it all together, I think that's a guy you got to make a decision on. But I think when it comes to Johnny Washington, it's a very easy decision. Tim Laker, Johnny Washington, Tim Laker and his bad teeth, they got to go. I can't take it anymore. Those guys have to go.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Hey, if you're a college football fan, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff. It's your ultimate college football weekly preview show. Drake Toll is there, Gary Patterson's there, Jesse Hawley's there, and all of our Locked On experts. College football preview show that only Locked On can do. You can catch that show every Thursday throughout the season on Fire TV.
You never noticed his bad teeth before, did you? Now you're going to notice
now
it every time.
I'm going to start looking.
You're going to see it every time now. Well, hopefully you only see it, 2 more weeks here with the season, and they'll make a change. Hey, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels or Instagram at Super Halo Bros, and on Twitter as well. Mike, what do we have on deck for Tuesday's show?
Johnny, Trout says he knows who he is and that this season isn't him, and he shared what he is going to do in the future. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, and then we're going to share if we agree with Mike Trout or not. Because, hey, we're nerds with podcasts. We can disagree or we can agree however often we want. And y'all suck. So we're gonna come after you anyway, right? That's tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
Man, it's just you take what they have in the lineup and you understand, there's injuries, bullpen's not great, but that was embarrassing. That was
Yeah.
so bad. And
Yeah.
to put another position player out there to pitch
Dumb.
sixth time this season, give me a break. Something's got to change. We got to table flip some stuff in that front office because this is not great.
Yeah.
All right, friends, we hope you'll come back and join us for Tuesday's show. Until then, my name is Jon, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother Jon.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
I was going to flip a table, but there's stuff on it, and I don't want to.
You don't want the wife to get mad. Yeah, don't break anything.
No. Here, I'm going to drop this.